I now feel an obligation to talk about something in a completely different direction, but still making fun of idiots online, which is the fact that a bunch of conservative outlets and people are getting sued. Lawyer Mark Bankston tweeted out yesterday. Today, my co-counsel, Greg Adler, let me see. Greg Adler was the guy who, well, is this the same guy? This might be somebody else. No, this might be someone else. Here we go. This is a good article as well. Found it. Filed suit against Fox, Newsmax, Univision, Timcast, Steven Crowder, Owen Schroyer, Simon Ateba, I'm sorry, and Hollywood Unlocked for falsely portraying our innocent client as a neo-Nazi mass shooter. Here's the HuffPost on it. Fox News far-right podcasters are being sued for linking the wrong man to a neo-Nazi shooting. A group of media organizations and far-right podcasters were hit with a libel lawsuit last month after sharing an image of a man they wrongly identified as a neo-Nazi mass shooter. Texas man Mauricio Garcia, 36, alleges several media organizations, including Fox News and Newsmax, used an image of him in their coverage of a mass shooting last year that falsely linked him to the real shooter. The real gunman, a 33-year-old white supremacist who killed 8 people and wounded 7 others at an outlet mall in Allen, Texas before he was fatally shot by police, shares the same name as the plaintiff. In their haste to cash in on the eagerness of viewers and readers to learn the identity of the May 6th mass shooter at the outlet mall in Allen, Texas, several media organizations recklessly discarded basic journalistic safeguards and published the photo of an innocent man, branding him as a neo-Nazi murderer to his local community and nation at large. Ooh, you can read the full lawsuit here. So Majority Report people had him on. They had the lawyer on and to talk about it. So I wanted to watch it with you guys.
Sam Cedar, Emma Vigland on the Majority Report. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the program Mark Bankston. He is a partner at the law firm of Farrar and Ball. And Mark, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. You seem like you're extremely busy this week.
Yeah, I've had a pretty busy week this week, that's for sure.
All right. Now, I know you can't really talk too much about this, but just broadly, what has been reported at the very least, or what can you just tell us about this case involving Elon Musk?
Well, I can tell you that, the court ordered discovery in that case. We ended up taking his deposition, as a lot of people have seen. There is some pending sanctions in that case, and we're also going to have a hearing on the motion to dismiss on April 22nd.
And what is the case about? Like, what is your client claiming?
This one is strange. It really is. To even think of the idea that one of the richest and most influential people on the planet accused a 22-year-old Jewish college student of being a neo-Nazi involved in a neo-Nazi brawl in Portland, Oregon, which is completely absurd and was based on some very dubious tweets from some anonymous weirdos on Twitter. And Mr. Musk decided to spread that to the world. And Ben Brody's not going to let that happen.
Great. And I appreciate your catching us up with that. You know, at one point it's the I don't know if the word is irony, but it is fascinating to watch this guy who bought Twitter essentially made it possible to almost make it impossible to use Twitter as a source to validate things, keeps getting tripped up by essentially what he wrought on himself.
That's true. On the topic of Elon Musk, really quickly, I have to take a little swerve into a tangent. Did you guys see Elon Musk's really sad and really, really, really pathetic alt account? The burner account? No, I want to see it. Wait. One's if you've seen it, two's if you haven't seen it. Because if you haven't seen it, I cannot wait to show you. I just need to know how many people I am getting to bless today. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. Hold on, let me find it. It's really sad. Content warning, the saddest thing you've ever seen. The most embarrassing thing you've ever seen in your life. Oh, go to my likes so I can show everyone. Okay, let's see. Oh, I totally forgot to show this. Oh my gosh. So many things. Where is it? Hey, wait a minute. Where did I put it? Here it is. This is one of many tweets that he made on this second account. Elon Musk admitted under threat of perjury that this is his burner account, by the way. And the burner account is Elon Test with the at ERMN Musk. And let me read it to you guys. This is something he tweeted on his burner. Grimes left the king of SpaceX? Question mark, crying, laughing emoji. Her kids must hate her. They probably want to spend all their time, Mr. Tesla. This tweet is fake, but the account is real. Sorry. No, you're good. Because the thing is, even if this tweet is fake, it doesn't mean the rest of the tweets that were exposed were fake either. Let me show you guys some of the other ones that I saw that were really bad. Because they were really bad. It's so sad. Dude, how sad do you have to be to make like a burner account, dude? On your platform.
So many losers want to deep throat this divorced dad so bad.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? Where did it go? One sec. Oh, the account got suspended. Omega lol. He suspended his burner account. These I know were real. These ones I know were real. Do you like Japanese girls? I heart librarians. Is this a real porn video? Or, sorry, peon video? Porn on the brain. Elon Musk had to admit during running the burner accounts during a deposition under oath when he couldn't stop it going public. He mass deleted posts, breaking TOS, attacking Grimes, and pushing dangerous conspiracies. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's just too good. Is there... Wait, I want to see this. One sec. What is this post? There was like a better master thread of like the post that got deleted. And I, of course, didn't save it because I'm a fool. And also, now that I'm thinking about it, probably all of those accounts are banned for reposting him looking embarrassing. Here we go. This one. Satoshi had the right idea. Do you like Japanese girls? It feels like we were in a nightclub and the lights turned on. What nightclub were you at? I wish I was old enough to go to nightclubs. They sound so fun. I'm sorry. Why is he? This is weird, man. This is weird. Oh no, he's doing fetish stuff. Oh no, guys. Oh no. All right. Enough of that. Let's go back. Why do people do this? I like the answers. I don't know the answers either. Okay. There's a guy who commissions Wonder Bread fan art, man. I'm just living on this planet trying to do the best I can.
By making Twitter a much less reliable source of information that he spreads, I find somewhat fascinating. But you've got a lot of stuff on your plate in terms of like false information. I mentioned before you came on that you are representing a plaintiff, Mauricio Garcia, in a case. Tell us about that case.
Sure. Most of y'all remember last year, during last summer, there was a neo-Nazi shooter down in Allen, Texas at the outlet malls. Killed quite a few people down there. It was a really, really nasty event. In the aftermath of that, the law enforcement released the name of the shooter and his date of birth. But several media organizations, sort of in their haste to try to get a story out, it labeled the wrong person. Not even the right birth date of my client, Mauricio Garcia, put his face out to the world. And for a lot of these organizations,
I think the bigger problem also is whether or not a statement was issued to correct such a massive mistake.
it was because my client has a very Chicano appearance. He is a Dallas lowrider, and he does not look like the kind of Mexican American who would sympathize with white supremacy. And so a lot of these right-wing organizations wanted to put his face out there to say, hey, look at this Mexican guy. He's not a Nazi. Look at this guy. And as a result, I mean, millions of people saw my client as a monster. And this was done by a big variety of news organizations, including Fox News, Newsmax, Tim Pool, Steven Crowder, Owen Schroyer, Hollywood Unlocked, Simon Ateba, and Today News Africa. I mean, we have a large group of defendants who all basically, ignored basic journalistic precautions. And as a result, this poor young man, his mom was getting.
I remember this. I remember they all found a picture of this guy and they were like, this guy wasn't a neo-Nazi. See, he's Hispanic. See?
Calls from people they've known all their lives saying, hey, I'm so sorry about your son. I'm so sorry your son is a neo-Nazi killer.
Oh my God.
His mom could correct some of those when they'd call, but that family's just sitting there thinking about all the people in their lives who have known them throughout their lives, who aren't going to call, who will be too embarrassed to ever call. And it has torn this poor kid up. He just feels so guilty about what it's done to the family.
And do you know where the conflation of your client with the actual neo-Nazi shooter originated from?
It was on social media, and it looks to be on Twitter is where it first started.
Gotcha.
And then, it was originally just social media people getting it wrong, right? Having the wrong identity. And then it was these commercial media organizations who are expected to have institutional guardrails against this sort of stuff. I mean,
It's like you on Twitter, or even me on Twitter, just like shit posting and being like, LOL, look at this guy. Okay, whatever. We are not journalists. We're not going to be held to the same journalistic integrity that like Fox News should be, even though that they claim that they're an entertainment studio, or even someone like Tim Pool or whatever, right? And the reasoning behind that is just like when people consume random posts on Twitter, you shouldn't just immediately believe everything you see. However, if you're like pretending to be this like serious journalistic organization and you are giving people the guise of like, you can trust me, I did my research on this, you're going to be held to higher scrutiny.
Verification is not a challenging thing to do as a journalist. If you can't confirm the provenance of a picture and know what it is and where it came from, you just can't put that out to the world, especially if you're going to try to say it depicts a neo-Nazi mass murderer. And so really, there's not much we can do about just random people on social media, but these commercial enterprises that are profiting from the provision of news, they have to use reasonable care. And what we've seen is that the bigger organizations, like in this case, Fox and Univision, they've just done away with their institutional guardrails because it's just costing them too much money. And then you have these new, people like Crowder and Poole who are running these low-cost operations who never cared about the institutional guardrails to begin with. So the entire media apparatus is failing from top to bottom. This isn't a problem that's just isolated to one kind of media.
It makes me think of Spotify and some of the sort of lies that come out of Rogan's show. He's smart enough not to maybe have these lies focused on one person enough so that somebody could bring an action. It's sort of just like how, who has standing in these issues in terms of like Spotify having to take responsibility for these things. But the thing that really stuck out for me in reading your the plaintiff's petition is in each of these instances, it seems, and I think I read all of the defendants, the outlet, because we get stuff wrong here. We're very cautious about putting pictures out. I don't know if we ever do that, really, frankly, but we get stuff wrong, a variety of things. But we're really careful with identities, I have to say. But be that as it may, people make mistakes. But in each of these instances, it seems like there was an opportunity for these outlets to correct themselves, and they didn't.
Because like even the best journalism, even the best journalistic integrity, you still have to publish a story eventually, right? And someone's going to make a mistake. But like that you knew that wasn't the person you found out and you did not issue a statement, you did not correct it, you didn't delete your original video, like you didn't even put in the bio, hey, huge correction, this is not the person, that is not what he looks like, that is someone with the same name.
Yeah.
And they didn't, or to the extent that they even did any effort, they never did a retraction.
Right. Most
that
of them just
really strikes me as like almost like doubly bad.
It is. And in Texas, it's bizarre because if they had just apologized and issued a retraction, they wouldn't face punitive damages. But they all made the decision in this case not to apologize for certain broadcasts. And, in some of those, it makes sense. Some of them, are just not going to respond to you. Some of them did. And we had discussions and they deleted the articles quietly, but didn't print retractions. Or you have in the case of Univision, who, when we went to them, they originally just told us, oh, we just did it on our streaming service. And, nobody really watches that. And then we found out, no, the whole time they had been broadcasting it to millions of people on their primetime shows and didn't print a retraction for any of that. It really is strange. And what was really strange is that most of these defendants were represented by counsel when we were talking to them. The only one that wasn't was Tim Poole, who thought that he could negotiate with me without an attorney.
Oh my gosh!
And he didn't put a retraction either.
Well, I want to hear about Tim Poole, Mark. But Tim is also.
Tim is really like Tim is the dipshit in those interrogation rooms that doesn't think he needs a lawyer because he thinks he's smart enough to defend himself. He is that guy.
Very specific, like his issue here is that the actual shooter, and this is when I went there and I was talking to him about it, this is what got him very upset. I pointed out that he had called it a psyop, a psychological operation, because the actual shooter had been posting about his show, right? And so there's also a self-interest here in misidentifying the person.
I remember this. For people who missed it, I couldn't remember if it was this guy or not, which is why I held my tongue. But now that I've gotten confirmation, I remember. Emma Vigeland actually approached him about it and spoke to him about it and said, hey, what do you think about the fact that like that Texas shooter, the Texas mall shooter, had photos of screenshots of your videos in his phone? Like, what do you think about that? And he got so defensive. I'm Pink. Thank you for the 17 months. If anyone has like a good link to like that clip or like a timestamp or something, it was such a good clip. And it's because he knew how bad he fucked up.
Your client as the shooter versus the neo-Nazi shooter who had posted about Tim's show before.
Absolutely. Well, it's like I had pled in the Musk suit. is that if you're a right-wing extremist tastemaker these days, you face the problem of how do you react to the more embarrassing public incidents involving some of your extremist fan base. And in the post-truth world, the easiest solution is just to deny that they're real. They're fabricated boogeyman by left-wing interest or something like that. And it's the same formula here. You know, even in this case, Elon Musk was talking about psyops and the whole thing. And that's what makes this more damaging, is that if you have people like Poole and Crowder telling their extremist audiences that this is fake, right, he's not a neo-Nazi, then if they see later legitimate news that shows the real identity of the shooter, they're not likely to believe it.
Hey,
So it becomes very difficult to remedy this problem.
that part, I want to read some from the Poole thing in this filing, but that part which you just touched on, the idea that they are actively, in the context of these, obviously, I don't. This isn't actionable in from you, but I wonder how much does that aspect of it enhance their culpability or their liability within their case? The idea that they are not only making a mistake, the idea that they are also not issuing a retraction, but then are actually building in.
Oh, you guys found it. Thank you.
Because
All right. They thought it was
pause it. Let me just also just say I remember this moment, and
viral moment though.
Some guy
that he would perceive as the race or the ethnicity to be mentioned about that. I thought that was an interesting tick that occurred to me.
Yes.
Yeah, very obvious too.
out, and all you can do is laugh and say,
no, it's because you get
some
specific
guy,
to obscure
some
the fact.
guy
You called it
posted
a
one thing one time, and that's the only argument you have.
Did you go to the time codes that were in that episode? Because I did. I ran this down, and one of them was a clip of Elijah Schaffer, and like weirdly for this like neo-Nazi Hispanic shooter, he like it's Elijah saying that we shouldn't be emphasizing race specifically. No, he's a neo-Nazi Hispanic shooter.
Right, but Tim called it a false flag and then corrected himself the next day and then said he thought it was funny after a mass shooting.
I think that
people
someone
were calling
told you
him
to say this and you don't actually know what you're talking about.
I think that it's not shocking that you think that based on my gender.
Okay, you're not saying anything anymore.
But like I screen grab because I do YouTube clips, so I will screen grab a time code so I know where to go later. So like when I saw that, I knew, or I had a feeling, because obviously he's dead. So, or was he captured or was he killed?
I think he was killed.
Yeah, so he's dead, so he can't tell us. But like I think people
you know what's really funny about this too is that like neither one of them know and I'll be honest, I don't know I don't recall the details of this at all. I don't know this story. You
know what's very interesting though? What's very interesting is that when Tim Pool is approached on the matter of, hey, this neo-Nazi had pictures of your videos in his phone, suggesting that he was watching your videos. The fact that he didn't take that immediately as an opportunity to say that, like, yeah, and that's fucking disgusting. And I want anyone here who watches these videos to know that I do not condone Nazism. I do not condone far right-wing behavior. I do not condone any of this stuff. And if you've taken that from my content, you have strongly misunderstood what I've been trying to talk about. And I don't know how you have. It's a perfect opportunity to like make himself look good. And he misses the opportunity because he knows. He knows. Because if I found out that someone was watching my videos and then they fucking shot up a school, that's what I would say. Now, that wouldn't happen because we would just be playing fucking RimWorld. But if that happened, I would be like, no, if there's anyone here who thinks what he did was right, like leave now. You are not wanted. You are not wanted. But the problem is he knows that his fan base is filled with those people and he can't shit on them because they give him money. Mint Medium, thank you for the gift sub. Hayden, thank you so much for the gift sub as well.
More or less hearing it for the first time, but
that's what somebody who told Emma to say all this would.
Yes.
Well, yes, but I also, it strikes me, it also sounds like I also told these two guys what to say because they don't know any of the details either.
But I just want to say the lighting in this studio, like no offense to the compound, but it's horrible. And we're super grayed out. Like you don't get a ton of color on your face. For Tim to be actually getting red on this camera
It's
lighting
so
setup.
blue.
Yes, I just want to
I
know
wonder if he
how
does that
he
on
looked
purpose.
more red in
Interesting.
person
I bet.
than even on camera.
Also, we'll get into this tomorrow, but I will say I watched the time codes from what that shooter memorialized in his social media page. Sean's wrong. It's not what. It's not. What
Oh,
it
he
is.
just wanted to characterize one of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's go.
Clearly, that's represented.
We'll talk about that in more in depth tomorrow.
There we go.
I had a feeling because obviously he's dead. So, or was he captured or was he killed?
I think he was killed.
Yeah, so he's dead, so he can't tell us. But like, I think people screenshot, because this is why I do it, and you can find them in my phone, moments in things so that they can go back and reference that clip. And I ran down both of those time codes. Neither
look,
one.
I get it, but look, man, this is the majority
Neither
report.
one what?
Yeah, but
why-
it
this
is
is why-
it is a nasty smear. Like, you're doing it on purpose
And
without
it's
running
not a
down the
political
content.
statement. It's not a
It's
political
a fact.
argument.
You're like, he
Argues
watched
nothing.
an episode of her show. I'm sorry, of his show. Like, that's
There was that one guy who posted Sam Cedar a whole bunch. Remember the
is a
guy
lie.
who killed all those people at the bar in Ohio?
I don't remember that case specifically.
Why did that guy watch Sam Cedar so much?
Why did Gavin?
Why do you guys appeal to mass shooters?
positive?
Why-
Is that a lie?
I don't know anything about
I mean,
that. I think he's just.
if someone has that information, send it to us. I'd be curious about it, because I would find that rather disturbing. That if anything I said would in any way encourage that kind of thing, I would be rather disturbing about it. We
What
would
a
spend
fucking
probably a
nightmare.
show talking about it.
We wouldn't call it a psyop.
Now,
for instance.
he's saying
Literally, what did I say? Literally, what did I did pre-watch this video, but I forgot that Sam Cedar says this, and I even forgot that Tim Pool tried to Uno reverse card and say, wasn't there someone who Sam Cedar inspired to shoot people up? This one guy that we can't name because I'm making it up. Source, I made it up. Literally what I said, which is, if that happened, I'd be like, something terrible has happened, that you are watching my content and you think that the solution is to go shoot people, like innocent people. I don't know. Like, I would be very confused, and I'd be very concerned, and I'd be like, why are you killing a bunch of children and a bunch of random people in a mall? At least have some purpose if you're going to do it, and target the people who deserve it. That was totally a joke. That was totally a joke. That was just a joke. That was just Minecraft. Do not do that. That was just a joke. Just a joke, just a joke, just a joke. Okay? All right. I had an intrusive thought and I had to spit it out. And I had to immediately say that it was just a joke. No, but genuinely though, like, you find out that someone is going to a mall and fucking shooting people. And you're like, no, it must be, no. It's a psyop. It's a psyop. It's a psyop. It's like, aren't you concerned that it's not a psyop? Aren't you concerned that, like, this guy just randomly killed a bunch of random people in your name? Isn't that concerning? No? No. All right. Got it. Got it. Also, Gorlock, thank you for the 13 months. Aster Brains, thank you for the 3 months. Neuron, thank you for the gift sub. Thank you. And Cat Plinth, thank you for the 12 months. Thank you.
saying it as if it's a.
Also, yeah, that's it. I just wanted to give context. I could sit down and watch Majority Report all day, but I just wanted to give context to, like, what they're talking about.
An excuse or an alibi for themselves in a more general standpoint, in that, like, if you hear that we're wrong, understand that is part of a big operation that is supposed to smear us. So they're building in their alibi. Does that implicate your case in any way? Does it show intent, or does it show? Is it more punitive? Are there more punitive damages, or is that just like a what does that show in the context of your case?
Really, where it comes into play is the damages that the client suffers,
People
right?
smile.
Because if there's a defamation out there, then one of his ways to do that is either through self-help or through corrective media for people getting it right. And if you have an organization that's actively undermining those efforts, that is saying, don't believe what you see on these mainstream networks, we're the ones telling you the real truth, then when that truth gets out, it's less likely to hit people's opinions. So the actual reputational damage to my client is somewhat hindered by what you're exactly talking about, this built-in escape hatch, that if they're wrong, when they're corrected, they can just say, well, that's the fake news. Don't worry about them.
It makes the defamation that much more durable And so
Exactly.
it increases the damages that your client's suffering because they can never recover in some ways because of other things that these guys have done. That's fascinating.
I mean, look, it's the same in the Sandy Hook case. To this day, no matter how much the volume of reporting that this really happened, there are still people who are absolutely stuck in drinking that Kool-Aid of thinking anything mainstream media tells them is wrong. So it really poses a challenge for these kinds of people who've been hurt by this.
This stuck out for me in the Tim Pool because, and we should just say, when people are looking at this at the original petition, and you can get this online, right? This is available online.
That's a public document.
And and you have it for each one of the defendants here. This is paragraph 84, if people want to follow along at home.
And I'll just go ahead and say, if you need to grab a copy of the petition, Huffington Post has put one
I
up. So
proposed to my
Sebastian
longtime
Murdoch did a story
girlfriend
on it
during
today.
the eclipse. She found the box, but was none the wiser. We went back to the cabin, and I said to her friend who knew that Mom found the poop sock.
Mods, ban him. Ban him. Ban him. Ban him now. Now. Henza, thank you for the gift subs. Oh, Onyura, thank you so much for the 5 gift subs. Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Duty Plop, thank you for the 3 months. Thank you guys. Polonius Monk, thank you so much for the 9 months. Joan, thank you so much for the 100 biddies. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Today.
And feel free to
Nice.
post this on social media, folks. I know the folks, the defendants love the publicity. 84. Poole also claimed on Tipcast IRL that he did not want to show the social media photos. Okay, so this is to be clear. Somebody, there was a second sort of like release of photos of the actual guy who perpetrated this.
Yes.
Not your client. That was released subsequently on a different site. And this is where Tim Pool decides to act responsibly. This is what's fascinating about this. He's already shown the picture of your client. It's already out there. And then the actual picture surfaces, and Poole claims on Timcast that he did not want to show the social media photos, quote, considering the sensitive nature of these things. So he's already shown the false pictures. And then when the real pictures show up, he doesn't want to show them because it's sensitive, and thus did not show any of the pictures of the photos of the real shooter. Poole also chided Bellingcat researcher Eric Toller, who published the real shooter's social media profile and photos, claiming that Toller didn't verify it. Now remember, Poole has already shown the unverified photos of the non-shooter, but is now attacking someone for showing. And this is all this does is makes it harder for your client to recapture his reputation. All of this just makes it like a steeper climb to get back to whole or even close to it. And yet at the time Poole made these comments, Timcast Media Group had already published a completely different, unverified and incorrect photo of the plaintiff on its website. And then in addition, Timcast news reporter Josie Glabach, known on Twitter as the Red-Headed Libertarian, posted several tweets declaring that the event was a psyop. And so that none of this happened. So they have now blamed it on the wrong person and then said that none of it happened and that Eric Toller was a CIA operative. Does Toller, maybe Toller has an action. Each of the tweets garnered an enthusiastic reply from Elon Musk. So this guy's just like, you bump into Elon Musk all the time now as soon as you're doing your research.
We got to keep meeting like this, yeah.
In the following days, Musk repeatedly claimed the event was a psyop and the mainstream reporting on the shooter's identity was a lie. And then Poole continued to promote the idea the shooting was a government conspiracy. So that's all basically just like, you think you're going to get your reputation back in the future? Here's my alibi, and it's going to make it harder for you to get that reputation back. And then Poole, according to this, quietly did take down the pictures, but never offered a retraction.
And that returns to my initial point of it being that additional self-interest of that connection of the fact that the real shooter had posted about Tim's show. Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and when you go to court, does him pulling down the photos, but then deploying this whole PSYOP story simultaneously, does that show more intent? And is intent important to your case? Like, how much intent do you need to show in this instance?
I love
Or is-
how impassioned Sam Cedar always sounds, especially when he's talking about shitting on Tim Pool. I can't help it. I can't help it. I just like Tim Pool is just such a shit person that like anyone who goes after him is based in my books. At the very least, the action of going after him is based. Old Thumb, thank you by the way for the 5 gift subs. Thank you. Scott, thank you for the 100 biddies. And Gaffigus, thank you for the 8 months. Thank you guys. It's really nice of you guys. I just like Tim Pool has like done a number on so many male brains. So many millennial brains have just turned to mush because of Tim Pool. Can I ask a question in here? How many people in here used to watch Tim Pool? This is a judgment-free zone. Okay, I am the most pro-rehabilitative leftist you will meet. And I promise you that. Wow, very few. To be fair, that makes sense, to be fair. I never even heard of him until this year. Streamer won't judge you, but I will. I think Tim Pool is like the perfect example of selling people ideals instead of actual politics. It's more about selling someone the ideal of like, look, you're not an idiot like these right-wingers or these left-wingers. We're just normal people, man. We're just normal. And I feel like most people who watched him either are still watching him today or they watched him for like a month and they were like, this guy's kind of an idiot. Wait a minute. Oh no. Oh no. This is just a smear campaign to make Tim appear in court without his beanie. Okay, and shh, they're gonna catch on to us. I only heard of him when I started watching Hassan a couple years ago. Based. I'm just saying, if we can get him to show up in court without a beanie, I hope he buys one of those really ugly toupees. Mayor cat. Oh, the mayor. Lick, 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 lick. He's so cute. He's such a baby. Okay, let's watch a little bit more. Spray can hair. If he pulls a Rudy Giuliani. Please, God, let that happen because it would be so fucking funny.
is intent not part of the action?
Yeah, it's really not part of the analysis here, to tell you the truth, because what you're dealing with is a private person, right? And if you're going to make serious accusations of criminal conduct against a private person, you have to use reasonable care. If
You have a higher duty than you would if the person was well known, for instance.
Exactly. If they were well known, if they were a public figure, right, then you would have to show an intent, an actual malice, a reckless disregard for the truth, which we think is obviously present here. But all you would have to show here is that they didn't act as a reasonably prudent media organization could. And you know that's obviously true, because if you had followed what a reasonable media organization does, you would have never printed these photos. That would have never
Plus,
happened.
I'm a little petty, and honestly, anything that makes Tim Pool's life harder is funny to me. If you're going to spend your time turning people into right-wingers and just in general being a total piece of shit, anyone who makes your life harder and makes your job harder, that's just making the world a better place. That's just making your world a better place. Yeah. That's
And so in this case, it is interesting that in a lot of cases, when someone just deletes the article and then makes no acknowledgement of it and just tries to quietly get away from it, that looks bad. That looks really bad in a case. But if you do that and then also try to debunk and attack the mainstream corrections that are coming your way, boy, I don't think a jury's going to like that.
And does that intent, I mean, if you could show that intent to that level of sort of like backfilling and attempting to protect, is that become a more of an issue of damages and and restitution than it does in terms of liability in the first place? So I just want people to understand there's liability and then damages, right? I mean, those are the. Okay.
Exactly. And one of the things you'd normally be facing as a challenge is that if you wanted punitive damages in a case like this, you would have to prove some extreme reckless disregard, right? But in this case, because none of these defendants complied with the retraction statute, and because they did not issue apologies, in this case, you can recover punitive damages without a showing of actual malice.
So that's a prima facie, essentially, show that they're acting in that manner. And so, wow.
Yeah, if these guys negligently did this, this jury can award punitive damages if it thinks that's proper. And I think certainly this is the kind of case that screams for it.
I just really want, I think is it called an injunction? I just really want the client in this case, the guy suing Greg, is it Greg Adler? Is that the guy's name? No, that's not the guy's name. That's his pal. The guy whose face was plastered all over the place, and that he was not the shooter, the active school shooter. I really hope he gets awarded, Garcia. I really hope he gets awarded damages in the form of Tim Pool is not allowed to wear any type of hat or head covering for the next year. Like, I'm not interested in getting money from you. I'm not interested in being awarded a financial amount. I'll take that from Fox News. But you, in order to solve the damages that were caused to me because of your irresponsible reporting, you are not allowed to wear any head coverings from now on for the next year. That would be injunctive relief. I was pretty sure that was injunctive relief, but I just needed to double check. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be so good? Please do it, please, please. Emma definitely should ding Tim's ass for trying to paint her as like a pedophile. Oh my God, yeah. That was insane, by the way. Oh, Mayor Cat. Oh, the little baby. Sorry. Rose House, thank you for the 10 months. Yeah, for anyone who missed it, Emma went on Tim Pool's show, and he was like, what do you think about the fact that this school is showing kids this book? And she's like, well, I haven't read the book, so I don't know. They actually talk about it in the video. Wait. Okay, let's go.
I mean, where are you in this case? I mean, I guess you just filed it. So the process goes, at this point, a couple of defendants are going to come and go like, maybe we can make a deal. Right? I mean, I would imagine, who knows? I would imagine a lot of these guys are going to run and say like, I'm willing to make a deal, or at least their insurance companies are.
Well, you got to understand, some of these people might not be insured. Oh. And some of them may not have insurance policies that cover intentional defamation. Oh. Right? So you get some issues there.
Who would issue an insurance policy for intentional defamation?
Exactly.
to them.
Yes, exactly.
And does Elon Musk responding to this and calling it a psyop just for within this case amplify your client's I guess case here because of his stature?
Absolutely. So when you have these right-wing outlets who are kind of creating this buzz in the right-wing media, which is not just Tim Pool, but also people like Crowder and Schroyer and Simon Ateba, when these things start bubbling in that right-wing ecosphere, that's where Elon Musk spends most of his time. And so when he starts promoting that to the world, these very messages that were generated by these defendants are getting to far more voices and far more ears than they would before. And so even though in this case, you don't have Elon Musk doing anything to my client, but because he was following along this narrative that was being born on Timcast, that this was all a psyop, this really does hurt my client's ability to make himself whole again.
Yeah, so theoretically, if Elon Musk were to have amplified a claim by someone...
Also, that guy definitely should be suing. Can you imagine if your face got plastered everywhere and everyone was calling you a school shooter and people were calling your mom saying, I'm really sorry that you had to find out that your son murdered all those people? Like, that is absolutely... I wouldn't even be surprised if, like, the Sandy Hook instance, like, plays a big part in the lawsuit and precedent and all that other stuff. Imagine having to apply for jobs. Imagine trying to apply to a job, showing up for an interview, and then realizing that, like, no one wants to hire you. Anyone who knows about this story doesn't want to hire you because they somehow think that you're still alive, even though stories reported that the shooter died when the police tried to get him in custody.
Like Tim Pool calling someone basically a pedophile, that and Elon Musk were to have responded to that, that would have, also kind of fall under that standard as well.
Absolutely. I can't imagine who we're talking about, but yeah that's...
Would let's just hypothetically say, like, one of us or either of us be considered public figures? I mean, if we're on YouTube, I guess we are. But you would have to know that what you were saying was not based in truth, right? You would
people frame it that way, that it requires like a knowledge of falsity, but what it really requires is just a reckless disregard for the truth. So
if you had no evidence whatsoever for that claim,
and if you have a claim that's just inherently improbable, you know that it's probably dubious. You know you should look into it. Those sorts of things make malice as well. So some people describe malice as the kiss of death in defamation suits, that if you have a public figure, you're never going to win. I just don't believe that's true. And partially that's because the nature of defamation in the last 10 years has gotten so much more malicious than it ever has been in our culture.
Interesting. Well, maybe you should find a lawyer, but we can talk about that another time. So give us a sense of, like, the timeline here. When, this was released 2 weeks ago, and
it was filed 2 weeks ago.
Filed 2 weeks ago, and so when it's filed, I would imagine at that moment on that day, the defendants are notified. Is that right?
Not. So when they're filed, some of your more sophisticated defendants will pay docket monitoring services to know that they were sued, right? So Fox, for instance, is going to probably know on the day it was sued. But these other defendants have to wait until citation comes back and then service of process happens. And so it was this week that most of these defendants had a service processor show up at their doors.
I mean, let's say I wanted to get a sense of, like, when. I mean, is it public knowledge as to when these people were serviced?
It is now. I'm telling you right now, it is. And yes, the majority of
just out of curiosity, what day was it that, let's say,
it was most of this week was Tuesday through Thursday of this week.
Tuesday through Thursday. Maybe we should go back and look at some shows and see how how sweaty people were. That would be very interesting to do.
But yeah, we filed the suit a couple weeks ago. We've obviously we sent letters to the offending parties within 2 weeks of this happening back in May of last year. We've been involved in long periods of negotiation and long periods of making sure everything's set and ready to go for the suit. We filed the suit a couple weeks ago. We've accomplished service this week. We're announcing it today. When the defendants answer in 20 days from now, they'll have about 60 days to dismiss the suit. And we'll go through the same process we're going through in the Musk suit. We'll probably have some discovery, depositions of these folks, and then they'll try to dismiss the case. And then the court will say go forward or not. And then we'll march forward into discovery and try to get a trial date.
All right. So, Bradley, get the calendar out. By the end of April, they've got to respond, and then they have 60 days in to file like a motion, a summary motion to dismiss based
Correct.
upon whatever their theory is, and then
Right.
you move into discovery and whatnot. Do you have any type of program or internship that I could apply for so that I could be there for discovery?
Well, most
Do
of the
you
world knows.
need an intern?
Luckily, I got enough of those at the moment. Most of the world knows by now that I have very strong feelings about transparency in litigation, and that I believe that more public attention to the court process and what's happening is good for the justice system. And therefore, anything that's a public record in my cases, I not only direct the media to where it's at, but I encourage them to report on it. And in this case, you better be sure that we're taking these depositions and doing this discovery. We will fight as hard as we can to make sure that the public interest is met and that these people can see what is happening in this case. Look, there may be some trade secrets or something like that. They get sealed up from here and there. Or then again, you may have it like a situation like Alex Jones and Elon Musk, where the lawyers fail to get a protective order and it just all automatically becomes public. But I can tell you that one way or another, the information that's critical for the public to know, to understand how this defamation happens, we're going to get that into the public eye. So y'all should be looking forward to that in the next couple months.
All right, great. I'm still not giving up the dream of becoming an intern for you, but we can talk about that maybe.
Go ahead and send me over a resume and we'll
I will
talk.
send you a resume. 1 year of law school, I went to 1 year of law school. I did my civil pro cases. So
This is not an interview, Sam.
okay, all right. I just do you want to know where I see myself in 5 years?
Right, exactly. Yeah. What would you say is your biggest weakness, Sam?
Well, I got a lot, but we don't have time for that now. We will keep our ears open. Mark Bankston, partner at the law firm Farrar and Ball. Folks,
Doing the Lord's work.
we will put a link to the Huffington Post publication of this petition. Thanks so much for your time today. Thank you for your work.
Yes.
Really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure to come talk to you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
Finally, that Mark guy is fucking gone. I was. Sorry, this is my favorite running joke. It's my favorite running gag. I apologize. I apologize. Borders with them doctors. Best job interview I've ever seen live. I know, right? It's like, I need to hire this guy now. Everyone needs to hire this guy now.